how do you begin the application process? So the first thing that's going to happen is they're going to require your proof of ID. So you're going to need to provide welcome back to the channel Ideal Home Revealed. This is a place where we showcase the best of living places for anyone looking for a humble abode. So go ahead and subscribe and be part of the community. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. It helps the channel to grow and produce more content such as this. Today I'm letting you guys in on a top secret. It's not really a secret, but I'm going to be talking about shared ownership today. Shared ownership is a way of owning that home for you, for yourself, for your family, without too much stress, because let's face it, nobody likes stress in life. Okay, so shared ownership properties make it so much easier for you to own that home, pay less rent, and literally live as if you're the boss. What is shared ownership? That's the first thing I'm going to talk about. Shared ownership basically means that you own a fraction of the shares of the property. Own a full property, you own 100% of it. In shared ownership, you get a slice of that 100% and you become a homeowner. The minimum purchase of shares starts from 25% and can go all the way up to 100%. The good thing though is that you don't have to buy the 100% shares straight away. You can start off at 25% and you work your way up to 100 depending on how much you earn and how much you have on you, or how much money you have. The second thing I want to talk about is who can qualify for a shared ownership property. Everyone living in the UK for at least 2 to 3 years can qualify for a shared ownership property. So if you have been in the UK for 3 years at least, or 2 years at least, you have a chance of owning a property through the shared ownership scheme. Again, who qualifies for a shared ownership property? Anyone that is working. Yes, you need to be working to be able to qualify for a mortgage on the shared property, on the shared ownership property ladder. You cannot be without a job and expect to get a shared ownership property. Nobody will take you seriously. Don't try it. But if you have a job, you need to make sure your income, or the person that you're applying for this mortgage is with income, whether you're going to do it by yourself or it's joint income, it should not exceed £90,000. If you live in London, if you live outside of London, your joint income or your singular income should not be more than £80,000 per year. So just to be on the safe side, don't go there with a 6-figure income trying to secure a property on a shared ownership property ladder. They won't accept it because they feel like you earn enough money to be able to buy your house on the open market. But make sure your income is within the right threshold and you can potentially qualify for a property on the shared ownership property ladder. Let's talk about the benefits. Okay, for me the biggest benefit has to be the cost of the rent. I don't know how many people are living in the UK currently watching this video or are living in London, but rent prices in London are atrocious. They are so expensive. Landlords are milking us dry. So if you have an opportunity to own your own home, I would grab it with both hands and know that I'm not giving all that money to the landlord, but I'm investing all that money in myself, putting myself forward for a property that I can potentially have 100% ownership over time. So the biggest benefit for me has to be rent. Rents are lower when you own a property through the shared ownership scheme. You are guaranteed to have a new build. So if you're somebody who just doesn't like to live in an old house, you want to live in a brand new property, if you are owning your property in shared ownership, you're guaranteed to have that property being brand new. So you will be the first person living in that property. I really like the sound of that. I think that's like, yeah, I want to be the first person living in my house. I don't want to live in someone's used to be kind of thing. So you are guaranteed that. Lower repair and maintenance costs. If you have bought a property on the open market, you go through it. If the boiler's broken, it's broken. It needs to be fixed. You need to find a way to fix it. But if you have a property on the shared ownership scheme, those costs are reduced because you're paying certain things like service charges, which I'll cover as we go forward in this video. Another benefit for me, which is the best benefit, is energy efficiency. Everything is usually green in a new build. What do I mean by that? They use low energy efficient appliances, so that lowers your monthly bill for electricity and gas, and I think that's a very good thing. Anything to save money, I'm down for it. The biggest benefit I would also say is security and safety. Most new build property or shared ownership developments are secured. They either have a gate, they have a lot of security cameras on there, so you don't really need to worry about safety. No one's gonna grab you at night when you're sleeping, so yeah, you're good. The final and biggest benefit for me is the fact that there's a lot of choices. You are not out of options. There's like tens and thousands of options. If you have a specific budget, like let's say your deposit budget is about £5,000, you're guaranteed to find a property that's nicer than the one you're looking at that will be asking for your deposit to be £3,000. That is how good it is with shared ownership. There's a lot of choices and a lot of options for you to go through and decide which one is the best suited one for you. I spoke about what shared ownership is. I spoke about legibility as the second thing. The third thing was the benefits. Now we're going to talk more about that shared ownership structure, the breakdown. So we've understood, first of all, what a shared ownership property means. It means you own a percentage of shares from the full share, which is 100%. So for example, you have 25% shares that you've acquired, and that's the minimum, and the maximum you can get is 75%. So working with the 25% example, let's say you have acquired the property with 25% shares, and the property is valued at £425,000, which is the average price for a flat here in London. About a one-bedroom flat, you're looking at paying that much amount of money in the UK. This means that you can now go ahead and put a deposit down. So you're not being charged the full £425,000. You're going to be charged 25% of that, which is £106,000 and £106,000. Okay, let's just say £107,000. So that will be £107,000 that they will be charging you, and then you would need to pay this like over time. That would be your mortgage. That's where your mortgage will be calculated from every month. Now that you have secured your property for £106,000, which is a fraction, 25% of the full asking price, you need to put a deposit down. Your deposit can be anything between 5 to 10%. If you're putting down a deposit of 10%, that means you're getting this property that is £106,000 or £107,000. You're only paying £10,000 £625 or £10,700. So you're only paying £10,000, which is a fraction of what you actually need to pay for in the open market, because the open market will be charging you at 30%. So you're saving a lot of money, first of all, by getting a house this way, because you don't need to pay so much money for deposits to get a house in the open market, and you're getting the same kind of property, same style, same everything. Second of all, your rent now is going to be cheaper, because your rent and your mortgage charges as well as your service charges are going to be calculated, and they're going to be way cheaper compared to if you're paying rent to a landlord. Thirdly, you're going to be saving that extra money that you would have been paying to the landlord in your money pot to be able to increase your shares over time, making you the full owner of the property. And by that time, you would have paid off most of it. So that is actually really, really good. And I think that's something that if you are someone who wants to get on the property ladder here in the UK, you need to really consider. Now I'm gonna go on and talk about rent. If you earn £48,000 and you're looking at this property, same example that I used from the beginning, your rent every month after paying a £10,000 deposit will be £1,354 to be precise. That's how much rent you'll be paying. Again, it's way lesser if you are renting that same apartment to a landlord. You'll be paying 2,500 or 2,250 at the minimum. So you are saving almost £1,000, if not more, getting a property through shared ownership. If I haven't already mentioned, you will need to cater for service charges in this. I know I mentioned them briefly, but I want to emphasize on the fact that your service charges will be included into your rent. So the service charges includes the upkeeping of the property, the upkeeping of the playgrounds, the play area, any amenities that are within the development need to be provided for. Like, they need to be kept, looking good for the longer time. So that's why the service provider, you will charge you the service fees. They are not so expensive. There might be a few hundreds, maybe an extra £100 or £200, but they were added to your rent, so you won't really feel it. So when you pay just the one lot out of your account, and you don't need to worry about extra money coming from elsewhere. Be sure to cater for solicitor fees, for broker fees, and other costs as well, just to make sure that you're ready for that first initial move. After that, everything should be much easier and much straightforward, because you just focus on paying your rent every single month. How do you begin the application process? So the first thing that's going to happen is they're going to require your proof of ID. So you're going to need to provide your passport, your driving license, or any photo ID that you have. Bearing in mind, you should have been living in the UK for a minimum of 2 to 3 years if you're new to the UK, but if you're a resident or you've been here for a long time, that's not a problem. Second of all, you need to provide your current bill. So this can be your gas bill, electricity bill, phone bill, mobile phone bill, bank statement, anything to prove and connect you to the address you are applying from, or your current address. And lastly, you need to have your deposit money in the bank. Your deposit money should already be in the bank. Please don't keep your money under the chair, under the sofa, under the bed, in the cupboard, in the cabinet. Make sure that money is in the bank, because that's what's going to delay your application process, because every money you use as your deposit needs to be accounted for. You need to explain how you got these funds. This is just basic due diligence. You need to pass your anti-money laundering tests and due diligence checks to make sure that the money you're paying is not laundered from anywhere. You want to be a legal, clean homeowner. So if you have any money at all, make sure it's in the bank, at least for 6 months before you even make your application. That just speeds up the whole process to make sure that you're not left waiting, or if you'd already given out your notice, you're not going to be left homeless because your house hasn't come through and you already give a notice from your landlord. You don't want any of those things. So make sure that your money is ready in the bank, ready to go, before you make your first initial move. The housing providers that we provide will be able to give you guidance in terms of helping you to know what to do before you acquire this property. If you are interested in a shared ownership property, do send us a message. Our email, our contact details are in the description box, and then we will link you up with some really good providers that offer incentives and discounts. And another thing is, if you work for the NHS, there's some really, really good discounts for NHS workers with some of the providers that will be able to link you up with. So that is basically how you own a property easily, simply, straightforward in the UK in 2024. I hope this inspires you and encourages you to get out there and start looking for a good place to call home, so you don't only rely on paying rent to the landlord, but you also have an opportunity to own your property in the long term. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please go ahead and hit that like button. It helps the channel to grow. And if you haven't already subscribed, go and subscribe. Please join us. We want you to be part of the community. Let us enjoy the journey of finding a good home together. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.